In our current educational system, where absolute stupidity now seems to be the automatic go to for many of our city officials as they seek solutions to our country's growing educational crisis, we have to wonder why it is that these officials continually seek answers from that which has been proven over and over again to be completely ineffective. But more than that, we should wonder why it is that so many parents are allowing these officials to remain in office. After all, it has been consistently revealed that the social justice bias dictating what these officials are choosing in our school curriculum is negatively impacting the education of our children. Not to mention how these biased choices are wasting millions of taxpayer dollars. So, why is it that, regardless of the data showing this, do they continue to push forward with it? Well, I think that it's pretty clear that it is because their purpose is to prioritize the indoctrination of school children with social justice propaganda rather than with true academia. Today, I want to look at yet another example of this. 2 years ago, a San Francisco Bay Area elementary school, Glassbrook Elementary, decided it was beneficial to pay $250,000 to the for profit company Woke Kindergarten to train their teachers, supposedly to help the students get better test results and to increase attendance. Now, before we explore the results of this school using the Woke Kindergarten curriculum, let's view some thoughts from the founder of the program, Akia Kai Gross.
I believe Israel has no right to exist. I believe the United States has no right to exist. I believe every settler colony who has committed genocide against native peoples, against indigenous people, has no right to exist. I believe in a free Palestine, from the river to the sea. I believe one day Palestine will be free. Is this news to anybody? White supremacy destroys for the sake of destruction. Abolition destroys for the sake of creation. We are not the same. I have an unwavering respect for children, an unwavering love and care and compassion for children, a commitment to children and to their freedom, to their learning, to their lives, to sustaining their lives. Y'all are the demons. Y'all are the villains. We've been trying to end y'all, get free of y'all.
So clearly, by what you just heard, it is evident that this person's belief system exists beyond the scope of informed reason. Within the mind of any reasonable person who watches her video, one would have to acknowledge that any person who holds to this type of excessive thinking would be incapable of making unbiased, fair, and reasonable decisions that would contradict her bias. After all, she clearly states that she believes that our country and Israel does not have a right to exist. And in direct reference to the United States and Israel, she says, quote unquote, y'all are the demons. Y'all are the villains. We've been trying to end you all. Get free of you all. Yet, isn't it evident from what she herself says in her video that her extreme bias falls in line with a terrorist type insanity, in that she self justifies her reasoning to claim that, quote unquote, no country who commits genocide has the right to exist, all the while her calling for the genocide of Israel? That is what her statement from the river to the sea represents. So it is easily a fair statement to say that within her extreme bias, what motivates this woman in her professed love for children is not the commitment to increasing the academic achievement of these children or in their receiving the freedom to have their own beliefs. Rather, it is solely to promote her social justice ideology upon them so that they would think as she does. And why is that? Why does the liberal political left continually push social justice propaganda upon our school children, even though the evidence shows that it does nothing to increase the academic achievement of the students? Simply stated, it is because they know that uneducated people, people who are ignorant of truth and knowledge, are more easily swayed into believing their propaganda. After all, if I never learn that 2 plus 2 equals 4, why wouldn't I believe a government that tells me that it equals 5? Ignorance of the truth, the stupefying of our society, is the power behind the attempt to control and manipulate people. So, in light of the continued decline within the academic success of our children in public schools, one can only come to the conclusion that creating a generation of uneducated people is the goal of this liberal social justice movement. So, let's look at this particular case with Glassbrook Elementary in Hayward, California. We'll start with a Fox News article dated February 2nd, 2024, written by Bree Stimson. Students at a San Francisco Bay Area elementary school, where officials hired a for profit company called Woke Kindergarten to train teachers, are continuing to struggle with some of the lowest math and reading scores in the state, according to a report. The school spent $250,000 in federal funds provided by a program meant to help boost test scores for some of the country's lowest performing schools, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. But after 2 years with Woke Kindergarten, student scores are reportedly worse. In a 4% drop in both areas in the last 2 years, less than 12% of the students at Glassbrook Elementary in Hayward, California, can read at their grade level, and under 4% are proficient in math, according to the Chronicle. Hayward Unified School District Superintendent Jason Raymond told the Chronicle that hiring Woke Kindergarten, which he said was supported by the parents and teachers after it was approved by the board, was more about boosting attendance than test scores. He said attendance has gone up almost 20%. He added, "We are in favor 100% of abolishing systems of oppression where they hold our students back. What I do believe is we should pick providers based on their work and how effective they are." Now, therein lies the issue, as earlier in the article, he made the statement that hiring Woke Kindergarten was more about boosting attendance than test scores. Hence, neither he nor the Woke Kindergarten program was focused on teaching true academia. And for him, this was probably why. You see, currently in California, school district funding is based on how often students show up to class instead of a total head count of those enrolled. That's why it is no surprise that after 2 years with Woke Kindergarten, less than 12% of the students can read at their grade level, and under 4% are proficient in math. That, of course, resulting in a 4% drop in both areas in the 2 years Woke Kindergarten's program was being used. Hayward Unified School District spokesman Michael Baisley, in reference to the firing of Woke Kindergarten, said that HUSD had become aware of certain statements by Woke Kindergarten staff, and although we respect freedom of speech and the right for individuals to hold a variety of political views, the social media and other public statements of the vendor do not align with the values of the district and those of many of our community members. But again, according to the school superintendent's statement we read earlier, he said that, quote unquote, hiring Woke Kindergarten was supported by the parents and teachers after it was approved by the board. So, what exactly is this spokesperson attempting to claim in reference to the statement by the superintendent? Is he claiming that the school board, teachers, and parents did not research the Woke Kindergarten company and its founder, Akia Gross, before they hired them? Because by virtue of their website alone, it's clear that their primary intent is to promote their ideology and not academia. So if they did research the company, which we have to assume that they did, then their hiring them after their investigation means that they were, in fact, aligned in their values of prioritizing ideology over academia, which again is why after 2 years, test scores dropped. Mr. Baisley goes on to say that the personal, political, and social views are separate from the work Woke Kindergarten did with us. And in that statement, you can hear the attempt to avoid the repercussions of having knowingly hired a company that prioritized ideology over academia for the sole intent of increasing their federal funding, by his attempting to claim that Woke Kindergarten was a beneficial program, and it was only due to the response to the company's socially made political statements that they had to let them go. The article goes on to say that Woke Kindergarten describes itself on its website as supporting children, families, educators, and organizations in their commitment to abolitionist early education and pro-Black and queer and trans liberation. So clearly, it would be evident to anyone who has made even the slightest effort to investigate this company that all this program was focused on is their intent to educate children with their ideology and not with academia. After all, they clearly state that their commitment to early education is solely abolitionist based, pro Black, queer, and trans liberation. Nothing concerning the children's need to know reading, writing, math, and the sciences are listed within their commitment to educate. A teacher who asked to remain anonymous made a statement in reference to the woke kindergarten training that said, it slowly became very apparent if you were a dissenting voice that it's not what they wanted to hear. And this is the problem for many of the teachers that want to prioritize academia in the classroom. More and more you hear about teachers who are ostracized and even punished for their wanting to focus on academia instead of promoting the social justice ideology in the classroom. The article also talks about Tiger Craven Neely, another teacher at the school who told the Chronicle that woke kindergarten trainers told him that he should focus on disrupting whiteness in the classroom. What does that mean? He said to the Chronicle. I just want to know, what does that mean for a third grade classroom? And let's face it, this frustration expressed by Mr. Craven Neely is exactly what many teachers are unjustly having to endure within our public school system. These teachers who understand the importance of the need all children have to be truly educated are being forced out of the school system because our current liberal government has empowered activists to overrun and dismantle the educational system solely for the purpose of replacing academia with ideology. This movement has infiltrated every level of our educational institutions, from kindergarten through college, from grad school to medical and law school even. Now, I want to read you a few excerpts from an article written on February 9th, 2024, by the California Family Council, which I think really sums up just what it is that these liberal school officials need to accept going forward. This case is incredibly sad and disappointing, but not surprising. Prioritizing woke ideology over real education leads to poorer outcomes for students. School officials are doing these students a grave disservice by training kids to become revolutionaries rather than focusing on instilling the knowledge, morals, and skills these children need to succeed, said Greg Burt, Vice President of the California Family Council. The focus on progressive activism at the expense of basic literacy and numeracy is deeply unfair to students, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds who stand to lose the most from such an educational approach. The situation at Glassbrook is a call for parents, educators, and policymakers to demand that student achievement and well-being be the priority at California schools. The future of our children and the integrity of our educational system are too important to be overshadowed by any ideology. Now look, the bottom line is this. When school officials care more about promoting social justice propaganda and ideology over true academia, then they are knowingly and intentionally harming our children's ability to not only have success in their education, but also within the hope of their ability to find great success within their futures. A future they could viably have because of the foundation they would receive in having been given a solid education. To all parents out there who may be listening, I have to warn you that we are in real time watching the progressive downfall of our educational system. And I cannot begin to express to you how horrible the ramifications of this will be, not only to our country, but to our children's lives. True academia is rapidly being replaced by ideology, and the test scores of our children clearly demonstrate how harmful it is to their hope of attaining a good education. As the California Family Council warns us, the futures of our children are at risk. We have got to fight for the return to a school system that focuses on educating our children in true academia, and that alone, because if not, more and more of our children will never reach the future that we hope for them. and neither will our country be able to provide a secure environment for them to thrive in. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And if you like this type of content, please take the time to share this video with others, as that would help me to grow my channel. I also would greatly appreciate it if you would hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because that would be a great help to me in continuing to put out this type of content. Hey, as always, I'd just like to say God bless you, and thanks so much for taking the time to listen. Until next time.